I developed a strategy I'm going to give you right now called Plan Ahead. And this is how to navigate successful change. The letter P, predetermine the change that's needed. The first thing you want to do is you want to sit down and you want to predetermine what is the change that's needed in my life. Because if you're going to turn something around, change has to happen. You don't want action without understanding what you're wanting. So your whole goal isn't to go in and change something. Your goal is to change something that matters, that works. So only you as a leader can predetermine what that change needs to look like. And the way you do it is basically say, this is what is. I mean, hey, Lou Holtz said, I have a losing team. I want to have a winning team. What's it mean to take a losing team and make them a winning team? I asked him that process, and Lou told me, he said, John, I asked the players that were on the team that were coming back, why do you think you lost so many games last year? He said, what I did is I did two things. I listened to everybody that was in that losing environment. I asked a lot of questions until I figured out what the issues were. And then he said that great statement, how does a leader that doesn't ask questions ever figure out what to do? I love that. If you're not asking questions of your people, you don't have a clue where they are. You don't have a clue what they think. And he said, I just asked questions. Arthur Blank, when he bought the Atlanta Falcons, told me the very same thing. He said, John, I just went out on the street and I just asked the fans, tell me, why don't you go to the Falcons games? They said, because they stink. They're not any good. Prices are too high. Food costs too much. He said, I just got all those lists. And he said, see, here's what these leaders know. The answers to the questions you ask will be the strategy that you implement to make the change. The strategy is within the people, but nobody's extracted it out of them. So you got to predetermine the change that is needed. And I think you do that by finding out where the people are, asking the question. After a while, you got it. The picture begins to be clear. The letter A, lay out your steps. Now, I've got to lay out my steps to bring people through successful change. If I walk close to the people through this change, I'll be their leader. If I walk far ahead of the people in this change, I'll become a martyr. You don't want to be a martyr. The good news is if you die a martyr's death, you're always special in the hearts of people. Bad news is you're dead. That's just not a good thing. You with me? So you got to do what I call the leadership dance. This is the leadership dance. You can call me the Arthur Murray of leadership. Okay? Here's the leadership dance. This is the way this works. You got to walk ahead of them so they can see where they got to go. But you got to be close to them. Don't be walking far ahead of them. You with me?
Yes.
Close enough so they can see. You got to walk beside them so they can participate with you in the journey, so that you can listen and you can interact and you can take this journey together. They're in the seat beside you. And you got to walk behind them so that you watch the people that you empower. And the leadership dance is doing all three of those things at the same time. You walk ahead as an example, you walk beside as a friend, you walk behind as a leader that empowers. And once you can do those three things and mix it up with the people, you're laying out your steps very well. The letter A is adjust your priorities. Very simple. Whenever you're going through change, there's no such thing as a pre-game plan that you actualize out completely. Let me tell you the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager is a person who took plan A and won't get off of it because he doesn't want it to change on him. He's got the plan out. He's got the strategy out. Don't mess with it. This is the strategy. Here, stay right here. A leader starts plan A because he knows you have to have a plan. But he, at any moment, is ready to change to plan B because he's found out a better way. If you think you get the answers on the front end, you've not led very much. Your answers come in the leadership itself, not in the front end. That's why plan A never ends up plan A. It's plan B or plan C. Why? Because you adjust and you hear and you listen and you, hey, by the way, you seize that opportunity. Remember, the great coaches are great because they make halftime adjustments. That pre-game plan at halftime has to be revisited. And you have to say, okay, what works? What doesn't work? And the changes you make have to be critical changes, not cosmetic changes. Remember this, cosmetic changes are easy to accept and implement. So people like cosmetic changes. They change the color, they change the number a little bit, and they just love that kind of stuff. It always kind of bugs me a little bit because I sit there and say, and, you know, where are you going with it? Where are you going? Outside they like gray better than black, okay. What else are we going to do, okay? And so you want to make critical changes. You don't want to make cosmetic changes. And understand this. As you make these changes, there's always an answer. Don't ever get into that scarcity mindset as a leader that if I go this path, there's no answer down to this path. There's always an answer. And there's usually more than one answer. That's why leadership is such a great art. Leadership is such a great art because you begin to understand that as you lead them, as you journey, you give them the best leadership. And that's why trust is essential in the people with you. That's why trust is essential, so that you can make these changes as you go to get them there, okay? And the next one is notify your key personnel. Sit down when you're going through changes, and there are two kinds of key people you need to notify. You need to notify your influencers. These are the people that they better say yes because you're not going to get it done without their yes. Their approval is essential. Are you with me? So you got to notify up front the influencers, and you got to notify up front the implementers. They're the ones that are going to make the dream come true. So you got to get the permission of the influencers for the plan to fly, but then you got to get your implementers because they're going to work the plan. So you notify key personnel, then you allow time for acceptance. Now you sit down with your key people and you allow them to have time to accept where you're going. Now, this is where leadership art is at its highest form, because your only intuition and timing are a result of a leadership gift, or they're a result of giftedness. Whatever you're gifted in, you understand timing and intuition. If you're not gifted in it, you don't have timing or intuition going for you at all. So you're intuitive in your giftedness. Your ability to do timing is in your giftedness. So this allowing time for acceptance, this is where you begin to allow people to have the time that they need to move forward with you. And to do that, you have to, first of all, slow down. And when I say slow down, this is something I've always had a problem with. I'm dealing with one of my weaknesses now. I don't slow down well. When I see it, I'm gone. And then I realize, I got to take people with me. So I come back to get you. But when I come back to get you, it's like, are you ready? And if I come back to get you and you're not ready, I got you. And I'll sometimes go again. And I have to really work hard on this slowing down process, okay? Because naturally I want to speed up. I don't like anything slow. There's not. I just I like to drive fast. Yeah, it's just I have a need for speed, okay? I have a need for speed, okay? And as a leader, what happens is you get too far out in front of your people. Does that make, and so you got to slow down. Second thing to do in this allowing time is you got to make sure you're clear in your communication. Because when they don't understand, people cannot follow what they do not understand. And so all communicators understand the value of clarity on the front end. Head into action. The H is head into action. Get going. Just start going. You never know the level of commitment from your people until you ask for action. You just never know how committed they are. The letter E, expect problems. Expect them. Why? Because motion causes friction. You start moving. And it's a tremendous leadership mistake to think that you have such a plan that is problem-free. Okay? And that everybody will buy in. So what leaders need to do, this is so beautiful, it's so negative, but it's so good. When I say expect problems this whole process, here's what you got to do as a leader. You got to think the worst first. You got to think the worst before anyone else. You got to speak the worst first. And you got to answer the worst first. You got to do all three of those things. In other words, you got to think what problems are going to be there. And then when you figure out what problems are going to be there, you say, now as we do this, there are a whole bunch of problems we're going to encounter. When you speak it up to the people, they'll say, oh my gosh, he's already figured out that we got, and let me tell you, when those problems occur, let me tell you what we're going to do. When you can do that well, understand you're really helping them with positive change. And the next one is always point to your successes. Somebody said, why? I said, because you always have people point to your failures. I mean, some people, that's their spiritual gift. You understand. If they can't find criticism, they're just not very comfortable. And then daily review your progress. Daily review your progress. Why? Because things get off on a daily basis. Things get off course on a daily basis. Problems occur on a daily basis. And I close this section of creating positive change, which is the acid test of leader. I close this because of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. I have what I call the law of buy-in. And the law of buy-in, I think, answers this whole process of creating positive change within an organization. The law of buy-in just simply says people buy into the leader before they buy into the vision. And so what I want you to understand is when people say, can I create positive change within the organization? Can I do a U-turn? Can I turn this around? The question is very simple. How much of the people bought into you? If they bought into you, you can turn it around. Just think as I close of the story I gave you of Lou Holtz that turned 6 university programs around, losing programs within 2 years, had them in college bowls. Think of what happened about the 5th college he went to with a reputation of a turnaround U-turn leader. Can you imagine just the excitement and the momentum of Lou Holtz coming to our college? You know, we just stink. And he's going to come here and he's going to turn us into winners. Okay. Now let me tell you something. It's a phenomenal thing when you have your reputation that you're a problem solver, and it's a phenomenal thing when you have a reputation that you turn things going the wrong way around and you make them positive. Once you get that, this is a leadership edge that you have. It's a leadership edge. It gives you a sense of momentum. It gives you a sense of moral authority that allows you to come back into a situation and where, now here's what I learned a long time ago. When people believe the best in you as a leader, they give their best to you as a leader. So you want to become good at this session, because this is the area that once you can do it and you can do it well, you kind of get a reputation as a turnaround artist, a U-turn leader that creates positive change, and then all kind of very good and exciting things happen.